OG Merpe. We are going to be doing some world building today, doing something new. I've got my buddy Matt with me. He has been helping me co-write one of the two, I guess, campaigns that I've been running. You want to say, hey, Matt?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
And we were just bullshitting and talking about the idea, just the concept just the concept of being an author and writing a book, putting a ton of work in one time, having books go on the shelf, and then having that be like a source of income. There are like people who do that as a job. How fucking sweet is that? He's a writer. He's been working on some projects. We were talking about those, and he's kind enough to
Sure.
donate his time and expertise, help us here build a little bit of the world together. We are actually going to do some collaborations in the upcoming D&D campaigns. I guess on that note, any of my players who play games in Valmina, stop watching. This is not for you. Go away. Okay. We are
Yeah,
going to.
fuck off.
He's going to be joining us on the campaign as an NPC who we have spent a little time hammering out. And I guess
Yeah,
that's a
we haven't
good
done a
first
lot though.
First question. What's your current like mindset around the dragon mage? Where are you currently at with him, Matt?
So, funnily enough, good question to start with because it, it's kind of a two-part answer for me. One, it led me directly into what I just sent you, the first chapter and a half of the book that I'm currently writing. It was the direct inspiration for writing this, and I only say that because I started thinking about D&D, and I want to make a disclaimer of my own. I am not a D&D player. Every single time I have ever played D&D, it's ended up in like hurt feelings and bad words and broken friendships. And so I decided to withdraw from being a player in D&D, and this is my first kind of adult foray into being an adult and doing it and not having the responsibility of like having to build a character and having to make choices. And so it suits me really well as a story builder to come in and support you and be a part of this magnificent world that you've built. And I just want to say thank you for that, number one. But going back to what your question was, where am I at in terms of like world building this person, story building this guy? Not too far, but that's not to say that I haven't given it a lot of thought. I don't have anything on paper, but I know like from our discussions what this guy's mission is, what he's supposed to do, where his boundaries are, kind of pieces of his history that inform his present. And I feel really positive about being able to get into him and like work out the kinks. And it's good to see Eva alive and well. Uh, the other thing I was gonna say is she's gone now. She abandoned us. The other thing I was gonna say is I always want something to have justification.
Yeah.
I'm one of those horrible storytellers that has to dive into why does the world look the way it looks? Why are the continents that way? What's the geology of this? Why did it end up like that? And so in my story, just for example, just to use it as a point of reference, I thought about your map. I looked at your map, I looked at what you'd sent me, and I was like, okay, could this be could this be North America in 100,000 years? Could this be what North America looks like in 100,000 years? Climate has changed. We've gone through another ice age. We're no longer burning fossil fuels. The world works in a feudalistic way again. We're forward in time, but we're also backward in time.
Uh-huh.
And with the way it looks, would humans evolve differently in different places? Industry's broken down. We no longer fly in the sky in airplanes. Boats are wind powered again. We're looking at a world now through a different lens, and now magic users are becoming a thing. Where how did that happen? Well, for me it's scientific based. It works in a very scientific way of hundreds of thousands of years. humans have had to adapt, and now their brains are able to accommodate physics in a way they weren't before, where a magic user that
Yeah.
understands fire is able to heat up the air around him to create a spark, because that's all fire is, right? It's combustion. It's molecules working in super fast ways and combusting elements and so on and so forth, just for example. And so that's where my story fed off of yours. Of we didn't have to dive into the why of it with your story, which I really love, because then we get to dive into the meaty details
Yeah.
of who is this guy, what's his name, where's he from, how though his personal story. And I think that's a much more important thing to do in a short form story, which D&D is telling a bunch of origin stories and a bunch of lore
Yeah.
in segments over time. And so you have to know those details in a book setting like what I'm writing. We're talking about, the audience wants to know the gritty details. They're going to
Right.
spend hours with you.
Right.
How do you keep them interested? How do you justify the choices you're making? Do they matter? At the end of the day, do they matter? And I think it's the bottom line for any story, and like what I'm looking forward to engaging with your character and with the other players is just like, how does how does this person operate as a being? How is, like, what's their internal process? Delivery is less important. Like, I can use my normal voice, I could change it, I could do anything.
Right.
But why does he do it? Why does he do it? And you and I've had hours and hours of conversating around the why of it. And
Yeah.
that kind of character based driven story is what keeps people hooked in, because they buy into it. They buy into what people want to see, the future of that character. They want to know what happens to him. They want to know what happened to him, but they want to see that person survive it and then get to the next point. And sometimes with the bad guy, you just want to see him get fucked in the ass. Like, you want to see that person get lit on fire with like magic, and that's cool too. And I've been reading some very interesting books as of late. Um, two different genres. One, apocalypse books. So like, if an EMP goes off, what the fuck happens to
Right.
people?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so that's one series of books I was reading for a while. I kind of lost interest in it because the author took me out of the main storyline and brought me to like a bunch of different characters I didn't give a fuck about, because I wanted to know more about what was happening to the original group. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, fuck this. I'm gonna move on. And I moved on to like dragon stories specifically for because of this project.
Okay.
So I started reading books that included dragons, and they've been incredible. They've been the books that I've like most looked forward to coming home and reading.
Awesome.
Like, so there's been a three books that I've read, three series rather, probably like 10 books at this point since you and I started this, of just like dragon shit, just like loud. And here's the weird part. I will mention this because I think it's relevant. In no point in these fucking books do the dragons fuck or shit or piss. They eat all the time. They even in one book, the food that they eat is hella important. But when do they shit, and how big is it, and where does it go? I want to know this, because they're all talking about these bad guys trying to follow them. And it's like, yeah, sure. Wouldn't they be able to find this like giant pile of dragon dookie and be like, clearly a dragon's been here. He took a
Clearly.
fat shit right here. There's deer bones inside it. Like, we know it's this guy because he's the only one that eats deer.
Oh
Like, it
man.
just pisses me off a little bit, and I just want to point that out while we move forward. At one point in this campaign, I would like to turn into the dragon form, and I want to take a shit on something. Like, in game, I want them to know I'm shitting. I want the smell to be overpowering. I want that to happen, even if it's the last thing I do in the game. Like, I'm about to die or something. You're like, he's done. I don't want him in the game anymore. Go ahead and go take your shit, and I'll like whatever it takes. Like, just please don't be like these authors who exclude the pooping of the dragons, which I think is a very relevant thing. I think is a very, like, I'm thinking like, where are the fucking bathrooms? Where are the
Oh,
dragon potties in
Matt,
this tower?
I gotta say, I agree with you. The three pillars of my game are fun, first and foremost at the top, believability. and drama. But believability is number two. And in the spirit of having a believable and realistic world,
Yeah,
I think the dragon
that's it.
shit's
Shit.
important. I think the dragon shit's important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even if it's historical shit, like they're in a dungeon, and they figure out like dragons clearly have been here because here's a bunch of dried up piles of dragon shit. I think that's important to point out
You
because
know,
dragons poop just like everybody else.
oh, and the everybody else, I feel like, is an important part of that too. It's not something I had considered, but yeah, if there are creatures who have made closed cavern systems their home,
Yeah,
they got to shit somewhere. Like one of the
right.
when you're designing a dungeon with living things in it, like
Got to throw some latrines in there.
there's
You
got
got
to
to throw
be
some latrines.
everybody's got to shit. Everybody's got to shit. Shitting is
I
a real
know
thing that
I know that
happens.
seems like a real innocuous thing, but while I was writing these first couple of chapters of my book, I thought about that. I was like, wow, these guys are drinking pretty heavy. They're gonna need to take a piss pretty soon.
Yeah.
Like that has to be dropped in there. I'm tired of reading these like young adult, like this kid's 16 years old, but he's surrounded by adults, but he's like the best kid because he found this dragon that's super special.
Yeah.
And so they bonded, and now he's got to be the kid that raises this baby dragon to be an adult dragon. He's got to become an adult dragon rider. But at no point in time does that dragon poop. And I get real mad about it. I'm just like, at some point they're eating all this food, and I'm just like, when did it happen? We just jumped through all this stuff. Just tell me he pooped. I'm worried about he's incontinent. Like, is he
I'm
just
worried. I'm
constipated all the
worried
time?
about him. I'm worried
Yeah.
about the dragon.
So part of me was like, I'm not writing a story about a 16-year-old kid. Like, I'm not. I know that's popular. I know that's like,
Yeah.
especially in fantasy writing,
Yeah.
that's a super popular thing to do, is like to make a kid, like a girl, a boy, non-gendered person, whatever, a fucking teenager, and then bring them into adulthood. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm an adult. I'm gonna write an adult story
Because
with adults.
you get
There
even
might be
more.
some kids.
I mean, there's still a transformation going from a non-adventuring adult to an adult who has like
Yeah.
waded through literal dragon
Yeah.
shit and like
Yes.
fought trolls and like
Yeah.
made the hard decisions. You know, it's like there's a lot of growth there still.
I
Absolutely.
agree with that. And then if you look at it like this, because the way I wrote it is that these characters are immortal, basically.
Yeah.
That there these 5 people on the planet that have been brought to what is now North America from the past, from our present. This transference through time makes them timeless until somebody else shows up. Up until this book, up until this moment, up until then, every time somebody new showed up in the same way, it took one of their powers from them. Now the
Mm,
new person that arrives gets their immortality but has a new form of magic. Maybe it's related to the
got
person,
you.
maybe it's not, but I thought that's interesting. And so if they're immortal and they live hundreds of years, sometimes thousands of years, when they get there, they're children. They're
Yep.
35 years old, 30, 35 years old, like we are.
Yep.
And they're children in the eyes of these other immortals. And so that it kind of is this kind of coming of age story in exactly the way that you mentioned it, of like, you go from this like living your life being, pouring wine for people during the week, and then all of a sudden you're snatched out of your time, away from all your friends and family and your animals and your everything you've known and loved,
Yep.
to then be like brought into this feudalistic world that is torn apart by all these like factions and cannibals
Uh
and
huh.
soul stealers and all this bullshit. And you got to figure out how to survive and prosper. And because you are super powerful, and there are other powerful beings that are going to help you a little bit figure your shit out
Hmm.
and train you a little bit, you have an advantage. But there's still this like huge disadvantage. Like, where are the toilets? There's no indoor plumbing. Like, what do we do with this? You're in a castle.
Yep.
Like, do you go outside and shit in a bush? Do you like, are there latrines? Is there indoor plumbing?
It
But it's
depends.
weird.
Depends on the castle. You know, there were primitive versions of latrines built into the like
Yeah,
upper
people died in
levels
them.
of castles, and there were more sophisticated versions that had like flush out channels into the moat essentially. But yeah. There were not very many asses using those. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it was the royalty.
I
It was
didn't
the
mean to
big
turn
bad
this
guys.
into this kind of a conversation. I want to be honest with you. It wasn't my goal
That's all
today to
right.
talk about shitting so much, but it is a relevant part of a good story, I think.
You know,
I
and
think it's often overlooked by a lot of authors.
and I gotta say, it's not a bad way to get it. It's a weird way to get into it, but it's not a bad way to get into it.
No, I'm just
Uh,
saying, bar none, going back to your question, I just want to take a shit at some point in the game.
okay, well,
I just want it
that
to be known
we
that
will
I took a poop.
we will make that happen. We
Okay.
will
It
make
doesn't
that
have to
happen.
happen like early on. It can happen anytime.
Yeah,
But at
yeah.
some point, just work that in.
All right, yeah, we can do that.
Is anybody actually watching us?
At this moment, no.
Thank
Uh,
goodness. God, I'm glad that wasn't broadcast.
but it'll go up on YouTube
Not my
later.
finest
So
conversation.
it'll go up on
Great.
YouTube later. So
Lovely.
maybe it won't. Maybe I'll start it. Maybe I'll cut it out. I don't know. We'll see.
No, keep it. Fuck it. Who cares? I mean, get the views. People want to hear
uh,
about us talking about people not shitting and shitting. That's fine with me.
you know what? I think it's an interesting take though. I think it's 'cause that's what you
Yeah.
want to do. You want to talk about the stuff that hasn't been talked about to death. Which is, I feel like dragon shits have definitely not been talked about to death. So
I don't know. I've never heard anybody talk about it, to be honest.
no,
And it
I've watched a
frustrates me in a way it
lot of
shouldn't.
D&D videos. Nobody ever mentions the dragon poop. So
Yeah, I mean, you think the largest creature on the planet, pretty much, right? Like, I mean, I'm sure there's like other like leviathans and
it's up. I mean,
krakens and
yeah,
shit.
it depends on the dragon, but they're for sure up there. One of the
Right?
largest, bar
Like
none.
top 10
Top
largest
10 for
creatures.
sure. Yeah, yeah.
Where's all the dragon poop? Where's it at?
Yep.
Like, do they have hordes of treasure? Do they shit in their treasure? Probably not.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking out loud, like probably not shitting in their treasure. That's what pissed me off about those Hobbit movies too. Like this asshole sitting up there and he's not eating anything for hundreds of years.
Yeah, but
He's
that's
got all
like
this gold.
hibernation. That's a little
Yeah, yeah.
different, you
But
know.
as soon as he gets out, wouldn't the first fucking thing? Oh, I gotta pause our brief discussion because Tyler has come home,
Okay.
and I'm just gonna step away for a brief moment, greet him, and then return to our discussion and close the door so he cannot hear us.
That sounds wonderful to me.
I will return momentarily.
In the meantime, I will just kind of describe this character who my players will be interacting with shortly. Kind of the game so far. I like to put it in video game terms that they have hit the title screen, so to speak, of their game. So they have, been drawn together. They've been brought together. They've been given a collective goal. They've worked with each other to do their best to achieve that goal. And the resolution was not really what they expected, in that they were called to this. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Well, excuse me. They were brought to this town of Irigan, which is in the middle of the continent Bellador there. And if I go to my display capture instead of my Valmina map, haha, great. Love it. And we'll straighten all that out. Perfect. Excellent. Okay. So here, Irigan.
I have returned. I
You're
have returned.
you were all good. I was just kind of giving a where we're at so far. So our heroes have been brought together by this lord of this kind of podunk rural swamp town called Irigan, and they were told that there was a merchant trail which had been, being raided. Supplies were running low, and the local Lord Oldbrand, had asked them to, determine what was happening and find a solution. And so there's a lizard folk tribe who lives nearby that they were suspicious of. They went and they actually had an altercation, a battle where they killed a couple of patrols, but then they stashed their bodies in the swamp, and the swamp's full of stuff that will like eat free food. Like nothing is wasted in the swamp. So their bodies were gone before anybody had a chance to find them. and they kind of smooth talk their way with the chief. Oh, we don't know what happened to them, and they ended up finding out the problem was a bunch of kobolds, were these like little kind of dragon minion goblin things, which had set up in an old set of ruins in the swamp. They went to the complex. They started clearing it out, and they discovered that there was a young black dragon who had also taken up residence there, who was leading the kobolds. And kind of long story short, they tried to use a game mechanic to take a long rest to like get all their spells back and heal and stuff. Um, like in the ruins that they'd only cleared out half of, that they had been like fighting kobolds in all day. They just like cleared
Super
it.
super unwise.
They just like
Super
cleared
unwise.
out a corner and were like, that didn't even close. Like they were visible holes in the wall to the outside, and they were like, "This is fine. We'll post up here." And they posted up there and basically got attacked, and the dragon woke and like melted the foundations of the building that they were on, to like to get them out of his house, essentially his complex. Underneath, it was like on a lake, so there was like lake water flooding in behind them, but there was like this cavern system underneath the lake that they had discovered, and they were like rushing through the cavern system, trying not to be drowned. Found their way to a hatch which led to an abandoned hut in the middle of the swamp, and they found their way back to Irrigan. They specifically chose not to go see the Lord and receive their reward, and to instead go to the inn and party for the night, which wouldn't have been a problem except they were awoken in the middle of the night by the sound of a dragon attacking, and the dragon who they had left in the ruins had come to take some revenge on the town of Irrigan. He was headed straight for the Lord's Manor. And that was where the last session ended, like 6 months ago.
Yeah, at
And
least.
since then, we have worked out, you know, just with where Irrigan is on the map. There's really only one of a couple different options. They can go to Edgetown, which is it's got kind of a Wild West port town, edge of the world vibe, or they can go to Karak, which is like the largest, most densely populated city on the entire in the entire world of Valmina. It is the home of like powerful merchant guilds, and slavery is legal there in the form of, they call them contract holders, and it's the like economic central focus of the world.
Not a
And
smart move. Not a smart move. Don't go there.
yeah, and they'd have to go through the desert to get there, and they have a couple mages with them, but unless they have protect elements, or there's a certain spell that, like, it doesn't matter how hot or cold it is, you can like make it through. Unless they could cast that on everybody every day, then they die basically of exposure before they got to Karak. So they'll probably go to Edgetown. And so we've worked out that one of the major features of Edgetown is going to be that they have a local wizard, which is, most major cities have at least, one magical being. Usually they work out of a church, but if, I figure Edgetown is the kind of place where they're still in Karak's sphere of influence, but way out on the far edge of Karak's influence, and they're also partially under the influence of the College of the Arcane Arts, which is this like super secret, series of islands in the eye of an ever raging storm at the mouth of the channel, so they can control, all of the traffic, which has allowed them to like remain relevant even though they don't go anywhere or do anything. Um,
Yeah.
so they you know basically they're where most of the elves of the world reside, because basically if there are no elves in Edgetown, because any elves in Edge or half elves in Edgetown get snuck away by mercenaries, pirates, ice rats, sailors of some kind, and they get carted to the College of the Arcane Arts because that's where they get their recruits from. And once you're at the college, the only way off is via teleport, which is magically muted, or a boat through a storm that is probably going to kill you. So they're going to go to Edgetown. There's going to be this wizard at Edgetown who is going to be giving them some information on what I hope they will find, because they haven't actually played this part yet. But what I'm hoping will happen is they will rush to the Lord's estate while the dragon is attacking, and it's like a flyover acid breath melt stuff. He's not landing. It's going to be a hard like combat to fight and kill the dragon, which I think is what they're expecting. Um, and so when the dragon just like lays waste to this entire town and then dips out of there, I honestly don't know if they're going to know what to do. But I hope they will start by going to the Lord's estate, where he will be, using his dying breath, his last bits of motion, covered in acid and rubble, to, pull off the mantle a, ornate mirrored shield with, etched into it a mountain range with a large dragon and a runic language of some kind that the players will not immediately recognize. And they I know that they have mages that have read magic or read anything, and so they are going to be able to, determine that the item itself is magical, and that the runes, are protected from being read by magic, and that
Yeah.
they will need.
Significant shit. Significant.
Right.
Shit.
They will need to find a way to like disenchant the shield if they want to read it, or alternatively find somebody who knows something about it, which will then probably prompt them to somebody to say, probably the guy from the College of the Arcane Art, Tyler, from the College of the Arcane Arts, who lived his whole life with his nose in a book, to say, oh, can I roll a knowledge check and see if I've seen it before? And if he, rolls worth a damn, then I'll tell him that, because we have worked out from a world building standpoint that this is a shield that is a set of armor and weapons, which was wielded by a knight who was hunting dragons, who was killing dragons with it. We've also determined that the way this set in particular,
They were evil dragons, though. Let's preface that.
right,
The dragons he was killing, bad dragons. Not all the dragons are bad dragons, but those guys that he was killing, motherfucking terrible dragons.
terrible,
Rapists.
terrible ass dragons.
Yeah,
And
fucking horrible dragons.
horrible dragons. And so, but our dragon friend here, the dragon mage,
Yeah.
dragons are
He's
known.
he's a good guy.
Dragons are known to be able to polymorph. They can take human form quite easily, and so.
Got a question on that. Can I just parlay briefly?
Yeah, go.
Not to
Go.
interrupt your train of thought.
Yeah. Because we're getting to you, so yeah.
Is there any way that we could get a voice changer so I could sound like Sir Ian McKellen? Is that possible? Does that exist?
That technology may exist if a comment shows up in the YouTube video later telling us where this technology
That's mainly
exists.
why I'm asking.
Then
Yeah.
Then we can make it happen.
I just think that'd be much better to immerse, and then my voice wouldn't have to be the one that, because I don't sound, my voice doesn't sound like a guy you'd go to and be like, I believe him. my voice sounds like somebody that you'd go to and be like, I bet he could get me drunk. like I bet this guy knows where to get a cheeseburger. That's immediately you see me and you're like, he's never been to a gym in his life. He doesn't know magic.
Yeah, well, not all the guys use voices for their characters, and don't necessarily have voices to match either. But
Okay.
voice changing will be fun. I support any and all variations of role playing. So if you want a voice to have a voice, then I think that's a great idea.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. I just wanted to put it out there. So if they go to Edgetown,
because they're going to be looking for you, because tucked in the back of the shield will be a note of some kind that has your wizard's mark on it, or straight up says it is not known that you're a dragon, so it'll have your human name on it. But they'll have a reason to come seek you out in Edgetown. The details of which I'm working out a little bit. That's why I want the Lord to be in his dying breath, to point to the shield and to weakly say to weakly be able to mutter your name and the word Edgetown before he dies.
I'd say fuck the note. Like make that the note. That's the note. Is the verbal. Is the verbal.
Right. And
They,
so yeah,
the note. The note's like here. Go this way. Like I think if they just listen to this guy, they still get to make their own choice, right?
yeah, I mean
I mean, I
they
guess the note does the same thing too, but
yeah, they will. The only thing that makes that a little complicated is that I've already given this lord a healer, who is he himself a half elf from the College of the Arcane Arts, and
oh, okay.
his like job is to keep the lord alive. I doubt my players remember it, but I did write it in, and so
He should get taken out
I
first.
think if
He's
he,
just
I
like the
mean,
dragon
that's
comes
that's
in,
an easy solution. If he's already
pelts him.
dead,
Yeah,
then he's not going to be able
fuck
to help.
that half elf.
He's not going to be able
Yeah,
to help the Lord. So that'll be what happens there. The Lord will utter your name and the town of and Edgetown while reaching for the shield, and he will perspire before he is able to do so.
yeah.
And hopefully they will grab the shield and then get out of there. Maybe they'll try and save people. Maybe they'll just get the hell out of Dodge. Maybe they'll go back to the Stinging Mist tribe, which would be really interesting if that was something that they chose to do. Uh,
And there's a
and
dragon full of acid there. Why would they do that?
well, they don't know that he's at because the Singing Mist tribe are the lizard folk who the humans
Oh, oh,
originally
oh.
thought it was.
Gotcha.
Who they
Yeah,
are kind of on good terms with the chief down there, and so that would be I'd have to pivot. I'd have to have a response ready for them because it wouldn't take them very long to get there. And
maybe they're just not there anymore. They're just gone. They
yeah,
get there and it's like abandoned.
oh, abandoned. I like that. I like that.
You
Like
know, so they just there's no sign of them.
yeah, and it looks like they left in a hurry kind of thing, and
Yep. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And if they want to do a survival check and track them, then let them pick out one set of tracks, and maybe they like catch up with somebody and get some info, or maybe they get ambushed by a party of them if somebody like walks off or something, and
Yeah. Yeah.
and they can
Yeah.
have a
So just
little bit of
something quick.
exposition with them, right, about what happened, and they'll basically just tell them like the dragon Nox has awoken. Only fools reside in towns when dragons are afoot, and that'll be kind of their thing that they just they're kind of nomadic swamp people anyway, so they don't need their huts and their buildings. They can live off the land. So that'd be good there. So
Yeah.
they'll end
Yeah.
up in Edgetown, hopefully, to talk with you. Um, who from their perspective, they will meet you as some version of a mage, probably a wizard, um, who will be giving off if they have the forethought to ask. I want to do detect magic on this dude we're talking to, who's obviously a wizard. Then they're obviously you're going to be magic. If they, I might tell them that it's a particularly old magic, and it doesn't seem possible this human can possess magic this old, or this he must be older than he appears, or something like very extremely subtle, like that. But I haven't settled on that either. Um, and they'll know that you're a wizard who will see them. They'll show you the shield, who you will know what it is because, and this is kind of something we've established already. You you gave it its magical properties in the first place. A lifetime ago, a human lifetime ago. In a previous town before you knew what it was going to be used for, and it it got used on a bunch of dragons, and unfortunately, the strongest of them was killed the night and captured the set, and he split it up among all of his clutch of dragons, his dragon children, and made it the first piece of each of their hordes. And so from a plot standpoint, from a playing the game standpoint, they're going to be okay. This shield's important. There's more stuff like this, and we need to go find it. But now you and I, Matt, need to come up with because we know what the dragons' motivations are for doing that. But we need to figure
Yeah.
out what the wizard will say to the party that makes this sound, because we've decided that they're gonna be, magical abilities that give resistances and are designed for, combat with dragons to, help survivability against different breath weapons and things.
So I guess
um,
my question is, where is the next item they have to
okay,
they have to
okay,
find?
good question,
Where is it?
good question. So I have been working on the next map. I work on a program called Incarnate. For those of you who are familiar with that, it allows me to do a lot of stuff from scratch in a pretty easy to manage way.
Sounds like an STD I caught in college. I had to go get that. I think I had to get that lanced.
Okay, can you see? Can you see? You're watching my video, Matt. You can see
Yep.
this
Oh,
new
I'm
thing.
on it.
Okay,
I'm so on it.
so we've got Irrigan here, which are now ruins, and
I
so
wish I
there's
could blow it up though. Like I like half the screen is my dumbass.
yeah.
Is
You
there a
know
way
you
to make
can,
it?
you can. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You just
Can I?
click. Uh,
Oh fuck yeah! Oh yeah!
there you go.
Brilliant.
There you go.
Sweet.
So here
Wish I'd been
is.
doing this the whole time.
We're only a half hour in, no big deal. Here's what's left of Irrigan, where the party will be starting from, and so they
Yeah.
have a couple of choices to either go, back down to the Stinging Mist tribe, and they could continue on. There's kind of like a wasteland down there. There's a society of like orcs. It's like a mixed society of like the
Yeah.
beastly races, orcs and bugbears and
Races.
goblins and minotaurs and ogres and shit, and they like live in a pretty primitive society. But they're at least
Is that where the next?
no,
Is
no,
that
no.
where the
That's
next
I'm
item?
just
Oh.
pointing to it. I'm sorry. So here's here again.
Oh.
They're gonna go to Edgetown, which is where
Yeah.
the Dragon Mage lives.
Yep. We're
Um,
doing the Dragon Mage.
and there is because this is the world of Valmina is in its second age, and you as a dragon have lived through. You were born in the first age, lived through most of the first age, and are now in the second age because dragons live for ever. So
Great.
in that first age, this big bad dragon who has this set and has dispersed it between his children, he was in league with the elves, and basically, the elves were after the world's magical knowledge, and the dragons were after its wealth, and so they kind of reached a pact to work together to for New World Order, and kind of the remnants of that is why the College of the Arcane Art is so secretive, so isolated, because they're kind of a holdover from the First Age. But there are like cities which were raised by dragons in the First Age and which were destroyed by magical elvish items, and one of those places is not far from Edgetown, on along a path that has not been traveled for centuries, and everywhere along this path is now dangerous, home to different creatures and things. But there have been dragon sightings. Not necessarily as much at Edgetown, but like boats being picked off in the sea, and like out on the outskirts. And so people, there are whispers that there may be a dragon that is set up in the ruins of one of these previous cities.
Is this the one that has like all the booby traps in it?
Uh, I mean, it absolutely can. It didn't.
I just remember us having. Was that the last piece?
The last one
just-
definitely had quite a few traps in it. The kobolds are known for kind of like
Gotcha,
goblins,
gotcha.
being like trap type dudes. But this is going to be like in its day, like most medieval cities, it was a city on a hill, highly defensible, lots of visibility. So from a dragon standpoint, it's on a peninsula surrounded by water on three sides. He's up on a hill. He can see people coming. There's only one real path into and out of it, from anywhere where civilization is, because to the south it's all like icelands and wastes and shit. There are like floating islands, which are part of.
Which item is it? Did we work that out?
We did not work that out. We did not work that out. So it
I'd
can.
say it's the it's the boots.
It could be any item. Boots are good. A good item. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like give them something that like does something right away. Because the shield's the shield,
Right.
right? And it's got its properties and abilities, but like like what do the boots do? We talked about each item having a resistance to a specific magic from a dragon. But
Right.
in addition to that, does it do anything else?
Yeah, because these are items that we're designing, so they can be asymmetrically more powerful because we know that.
We also talked about
What they're
each
doing.
item being cursed. Oh, hey, Eva.
She's being an absolute wonderful partner and bringing me my dinner, which is a baked ziti tonight. And she also brought me a beer, and she's also grabbed me a water because she loves me very much. So
Oh,
I
my
appreciate
wife fucking hates
it. That's not what you
my
want.
wife. My wife's like, order yourself DoorDash. Fucking solve it. That's what I get. It's great, man.
Well,
I'm gonna come live with you.
my house is
You
not
got room, right?
my house is not very big, but you could stay in this room, I guess, with next to all the boxes. There's room for a blow-up mattress here somewhere.
Where's your dog at?
That's a good question. Where is she at? Roxy! I'm actually going to commission a friend of mine to make. Because one of the things that happened when I reached affiliate is that I now have emotes for my channel. Oh, there she is! Emotes for my channel that are like specific to my channel. So I'm going to have somebody create a Roxy emote for my channel. Yeah, that's going to be really sweet. Ooh, yeah. There she is. Here's
Oh
your
wow.
pumpers.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Yeah, okay. Dad's trying to
Gross.
stream. Dad's trying to
Right in
stream.
there.
You gotta get
I don't think that's legal to show.
down. Thanks, babe.
I think we just might have violated some FCC programming laws.
I'm gonna get my first strike against my channel here because of
Yeah.
crude and lewd content, huh?
Still less than what Cora would have done.
Yeah.
Cora would have been inside. Like she would have been all up in there. So I guess there's two things. The questions that I have now are like we
Yeah.
talked about
Yeah.
like the shield being cursed, in that when they pick it up, the person that picks it up,
Oh yeah, I had completely forgotten about that. Yeah.
yeah, they pick it up and they're unable to they speak in the language
They speak
of
in
the runic
in the
language.
runic draconic language. Right. Right.
And
Oh, because
the only way
I was gonna let them read it. That's what I was gonna do. I was gonna let them. Okay, you want to cast read magic language? Cast read magic language, and they do it, and like the act of trying to read it is what curses them.
like rebounds, yeah.
Right.
And then they have to go to the magic user, the mage wizard, the dragon mage in Edgetown to get him to take the curse off.
Yes, that was, and
And
that was going to be,
that's what drives.
and that was going to be the foundation of your relationship with the party, letting them know that you're a bro wizard, because you were just going to like do that for them, not charge them for it, but you were going to be like, but I have this thing I want you to look into, and
Yeah, that was the payment, was that they had to go get the next piece of the armor.
Right, and you were going
and
to
bring it back.
Right, and I think we're even gonna tell them up front that they could keep it. You just like wanted to know if it was there. You just like
I think it was deeper than that. I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was something like the mission is for me, the overall mission for me is to find a group of people or a person worthy enough to help get my woman out of jail.
What?
Remember,
which we
she's
haven't
in
even
jail.
which we haven't even gotten into on stream yet. So I guess now's a good time for that.
So, but I want to reiterate,
Yeah.
make sure I got this correct.
Yeah.
Was I don't know if they are or aren't that group.
No, but this would be your determining. This would be a good way. Yeah.
I'm testing them. And the way to test them is just send them to get the next piece. If they can get the next piece and bring it back to me, then they'll be worthy of a quest.
Exactly.
That could bring them wealth beyond measure and power beyond measure.
Bingo.
So it's a simple yet enticing prospect.
Right.
And they don't want to be cursed, right? The motherfuckers.
Right, because that'll be the trick too. Is like you're looking for this party, and you might even tell them as much that like I've been looking for a party of adventurers who can do a thing or two. Show me that you're that party. But that'll be and that will be essentially in the moment up to you to determine like because there's 7 dudes. 2 of them play pretty exclusively under the influence, and so there's a good chance that you'll just get hit with a belligerent like, well, what do you get out of this, or why should we do that for you? Like there's a good chance you'll get hit with one of those. So
My
having
response would always be, you want to be rich or you want to be poor? You want to be rich? You do what I want. You don't want to be rich? Go on your slack jawed way and go fucking figure it out by yourselves.
and that
You bunch of yokels.
they're pretty motivated
Human.
by money. They're pretty motivated
Yeah,
by
that's what I'm
money.
saying. Like, you want to be rich? I'm down to help that happen, but you're gonna have to help me too.
Oh, you know what?
Everybody waxes each other's pubes, or nobody gets waxed.
You know what? Here is. Oh, I love this. Okay, I just had a thought.
Okay.
So I paid them.
Hopefully not about waxing pubes.
No, no, no. But about the
Go on.
about the payment. I paid them in. Not. I don't always let them find coins. I run a really realistic campaign, so sometimes you don't find coins. You find gems, and you find historical relics, and you find like religious tomes and shit that are worth something to somebody. Like they're worth stuff. They're worth stuff, but they're like it's not a bag of coins. And so they're gonna have a bunch of these little like trinkets and odds and ends and gems and like religious paraphernalia and stuff, which you know which the mage dragon as a dragon might honestly be interested in. And so if he might ask them like, oh, you're a group of adventurers, have you acquired anything, any delightful relics from your quest.
And I don't have to pay them in coin. Like, I could trade with them too. Like,
Right.
you could give me some things that will be relevant later in the story, like potions or
even
whatever,
or even just
spells,
straight
whatever.
up magical items that they want.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
before they come back, I'm gonna ask them to look at their characters and find me their top 3 magic items that they would like to see their characters end up with at some point. And so once I have that list,
Yeah.
we can kind of work together, and as you're talking, I can just kind of butt in and be like, the wizard offers you a rod of sending, or a whip of fire ice, or whatever the
Yep.
fuck they put on the list.
That's
And
weird, but yeah.
that might even
That's
be
That's some
better than
kinky
gold.
shit, David. That's some real kink.
Whips are actually
didn't
a
realize.
notoriously terrible weapon in D&D. Like they are notoriously
Clearly-
super weak.
Clearly, you don't know my wife that well, I guess. But okay, so I think we're right where we were in our last conversation, which was we got them to go to the Lord and get the shield. The shield enchants or curses one of them.
Right.
They figure out they got to go to Edgetown to get the curse off. I mean, do you want the curse to just be like vocal, or should it be like also for every day that you take to get this curse lifted, you lose 1 life?
No, but I think is a good clue might be because there is a race in the game called Dragonborn, where they are like the long lost descents of dragon in humanoid form, and they like have scales and like long snouts, and they are able to breathe fire and stuff. So I think it'd be fun if they could only speak in the language, but then the next day they wake up and they've started to grow red scales.
Yeah,
and their fingers and toes grow out like claws the next day, and they they start to like physically transform into a dragonborn. But I don't tell them that's what they're transforming into, and they have to just figure it out.
Let me ask you this: will we get to Edgetown in the next session? If they choose to go to Edgetown, how long will it take them to go from the ruin, the dragon death town to Edgetown? Like how?
It depends on if they take the bait on a side quest that I'm going to set up for them, on their way from Erig into Edgetown. One of
Okay.
the characters is a paladin, so he draws from a religious deity for his magic, and he's 18 years old, fresh out of the seminary, full of piss and vinegar, not very smart. And
Love it.
so I have there are these bad guys in the game. They're called sloths, and one thing and sloths are able to do a couple of different things. One is that they can transform into sloths used to be human, and they can transform into their old human form, but they remember nothing about their previous life. They're like always like sloth memory. The second thing they can do is telekinesis. And so I'm going to have one of the sloths see them as a party walking past and to use telekinesis on the paladin, or not telekinesis, telepathy on
I
the
was gonna say,
not
does
telekinesis, telepathy,
does telekinesis?
telepathy. They can read minds, or
Gotcha. Okay.
and put their voice in people's minds. And so
Gotcha.
he's gonna
I had
pretend
a joke there.
he's gonna pretend to be in trouble and say, because he wears armor that has the icon of the deity on it. So he's gonna say, "Oh, Ayamunde, the name of the deity. Please help me. Oh God, help me. They're gonna kill me. Like I never should have wandered off the path." And then screaming, and then it's gonna go silent. And he has spoken with his deity before. He has heard his deity's voice in his head before. So I'm wondering if he will immediately look around, try to find out where the voice came from, and like dart off or talk the party into going and checking it out, or if he'll say something, the party will not have heard it because it happened in his head, call him crazy, say no way man, and then continue on. If it's the latter, they could absolutely be in Edgetown the first session. If they if they wander off the path with him, I can pretty much guarantee it'll be at least a couple sessions before they get to Edgetown.
Okay.
But I won't know until the players make a decision.
Just curious.
Mhm.
Just curious where you had it worked out.
Yeah. I just I don't want to be too on the nose. You find
Yeah.
this shield, you go straight to the wizard who gives you the next thing, and you immediately are like off. Like that's where the believability comes in. Like there's other stuff that happens in this world. There are like other creatures who live here who are motivated by their own shit, and it's like it's not always going to be the main storyline for you guys. You're going to have, and my goal, honestly, the kind of mean DM in me wants to give them more opportunities, more side quests than they actually have time for. Like I want to make them make the conscious decision to say occasionally, "No, we can't do this right now. We got to go, we got to get back to the wizard. We got to, get this curse lifted. We got
Yeah.
to, you know what I mean? Like I want that to be a conscious choice they make at one point in the campaign to say, no, and to
Yeah.
move on. So part of that is just hitting them with little stuff like this occasionally, which maybe they bite, maybe they don't. I don't know.
Well, I think that's a. I mean, you make a really good point about just like a story process, and that's like, if I were an audience member watching this and being like, "Well, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Why are you doing that? Stop doing that. Like, go back and get your shit." Like I mean, just hearing what they did last time, like they did
right,
the other
a
party,
little
they
bit of
gave the
the
shield.
horror movie kind of vibe. No, don't go in there.
Yeah.
Don't open that door. Like
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So that's kind of the idea there. But kind of circling back, what I really want to start the process here, because you had asked for at least 2 weeks before we got going to kind of hammer out some details of this character.
Yeah.
I do have a little bit of backstory for him, which you can use for your motivations, and we've kind of touched on that. But I want
Yeah.
to make sure that it has been like laid out. You've had an opportunity to alter elements as has happened in the first, I think, 2 stages of this at this point. Um, and this is, I think, our third big like world building session. But
Yeah.
we have decided that you have dragons only mate once in my world. So once you find a mate and you have a clutch of eggs, like that's it. You have one clutch. It's one mate. It's part of the reasons why dragons are so rare. When they die, they're dead, and if they haven't
Yeah.
reproduced yet, then tough luck. And even if they have, it's not like two pairs of dragons can repopulate the population. So you
And I'll try.
yeah, you had
That's what that's
created
what it takes.
you are more of a knowledge dragon. Like some dragons are all about wealth and power and influence and the size of their territory. Other dragons only care about the size of their horde. Some dragons only care about procreation.
I care about two things only:
Uh-huh.
knowledge and my dick.
Okay. And so the knowledge bit, you spent, lifetime upon human lifetime moving from town to town, learning as much as you could. That's where you actually ended up enchanting this magic armor set while you were like learning how to do this, and you were trading magical knowledge for magical knowledge, and you know kind of unwittingly made this perfect dragon killing deal, a piece at a time, and now you're left in the fallout because that set got used to kill a bunch of dragons, but the dragon it couldn't kill figured out that it was you who was responsible for the armor, and as revenge he captured your wife and used his all powerful magic with the help of the elves. Not something a dragon can do on his own. He needs outside help. But this dragon is allied with literally most of the elves in the world. And so,
I got it.
during this first age. And so he used them and their influence to capture, your dragon wife and children, presumably. Like, you never found out. You don't know if your children are alive or not. But he has a loot. The symbiotic connection you have with your mate lets you know that she's still alive. You just have no idea about your kids. And so what he has done, this dragon Azeroth, I believe his name is he has captured her, transformed her, and buried her in the desert, just at the foot of the mountain volcano that he calls home. And so he has her.
She's a water dragon, right?
She is a water dragon because the uh,
The desert
because
used to be a sea, right?
yes, this desert used to be a sea, but it as part of the ramifications of the War of the First Age, it became a desert, and there are basically anybody who actually knows that history is either a dragon or someone of the College of the Arcane Arts who isn't going to share that information with anybody. So, she is buried out there, transformed, and
His ultimate motivation
is to get her, is to reclaim her. But he knows that with the elves' magic, he can't do this on his own, and he knows that his really only bet, ironically, is the set that he made that failed in the first place against this dragon, and that's kind of your deal. You're like looking for, what you thought was the person to wield this, but this party shows up, and you're like, maybe I'm going about this wrong. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe a party of adventurers is the way to go, each wearing one piece, or and your brain starts, excuse me, going on it, and that's kind of where you're at with wanting to reclaim all of this. That they're being guarded by the children of the dragon who may or may not have killed your children, so you got no qualms with these guys killing more dragons because they're bad dragons and you're a dragon with a
Fuck those
conscience.
dragons. I hate them.
Um, so
They stole my babies. They stole my wife.
yeah, Nox, the black dragon of the swamp, is the youngest and the weakest of those children. And there are three others on the continent of Bellador who have pieces of this armor, and or whose hordes have pieces of this armor. And I think that as a plot twist later, I'm going to one of those dragons, not this first one, but one of those dragons has already been slain, and and his horde has been looted, and they're gonna have like a whole other mess to deal with. But that'll be down the road. I'm not going to do that right away. Um, so that's the Mage Dragon. That's his deal. He's like lived tons of lifetimes learning shit, and now he's just kind of biding his time, living his life in secret, close enough to Azeroth to monitor him,
Yeah.
but outside of his physical territory, where he does his patrols and feeds and all that kind of stuff. So
Super dick.
that's
Fucking hate that
and
guy.
he poops in the desert, and it gets covered in sand. It's a giant litter box for him.
Wow.
That's why nobody's ever found his dragon poop.
Logical. Logical. I love it.
Now I know to think about that kind of thing. So
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Sorry to. Yeah. Didn't mean to make it such a big deal, but yeah. Logical. All right, buddy. Well, I think now is a good point to put a bow on it for next time. I've
Yeah.
taken some notes here. I feel good about being ready to go next not next Tuesday because we're gonna do this one more time before.
Yeah, but we may talk again next Tuesday depending on what your schedule looks like.
Yeah, let's plan on that happening, and then the following Tuesday we should be ready to go. From now until then, my primary focus is going to be trying to find some way to change my voice to sound like Sir Ian McKellen for this character. I just think it's so worthwhile. So if anybody on your stream or anybody on YouTube has that knowledge and wants to throw a dog a bone, I'm even down to throw a few bucks at it if it costs money. Like I would love to for them to think that like I'll even set up a fake Discord with the dragon's name as my name. And like they won't even know it's me doing it. Tyler
Oh
will know.
man, that
Nobody
would
else
be
will.
amazing.
Yeah, like just kind of keep it fucking. I'll even reach out to Ian McKellen's people and see if he could do it instead of me. I don't know what that'll cost, but I'll try to
Oh,
see
yeah. I don't.
who
I
I
don't.
can get
I
to
don't
in the
think the
next couple
stream
weeks.
generates enough revenue to cover that. But
I mean, maybe he just wants to do it. Maybe he's just bored and he's like, I don't have anything to do. Why don't I come in and I'll play this dragon, and I'll just be there like in his ear, just like feeding him motivation, and he can come up with the lines.
well,
So you
on
could DM.
well on that note, keep the other thing I want to do between now and then, if you would, is
Yeah,
to flesh him out enough for you to feel comfortable in his shoes, being him.
yeah,
Voice
absolutely.
aside, for you to, like, I will be totally available. Shoot me texts, like ask me about the world, or run stuff by me. But like personality wise, remember that you're basically immortal, and you've like learned a lot of shit. But
I,
I want you to have fun with it. I want you to have a good time being the Mage Dragon. And if you
yeah,
want to come up with a name, you're welcome to. And otherwise, I will come up with a name, a human name.
let me work on it. But I think he like my instinct is he's kind of a combination of like Bill Burr and in like fucking Patrick Stewart. Like
Okay,
he's got like this ancient wisdom, but he's like got no time for your shit.
I love that. That's
You
good.
know,
That's good.
he's got all the answers, but he doesn't put up with nonsense. And if you're
He's
just gonna
he's
be
got
there,
all he's got all the answers, but doesn't have enough time to tell them to you.
yeah, exactly. Like if you need something, you better be able to pay for it, or he'll fuck your sister and he'll never call her again.
Yep. Yep.
Like he has no qualms about that.
Yep.
He doesn't give two shits because he's been let down so many times. He's hidden this armor across the world in hopes that somebody one day would come to him and take up the quest for the sake of it. But every time it's happened, like it's been a failure. So he's like at the border of being jaded, but also with like a sliver of hope that these motherfuckers are finally that they could actually accomplish this goal and release his bride from underneath the cat box of the world, you know?
Yep.
And at the same time, at the end of the day, I won't, cut off Azeroth's head and ear fuck him to death,
Yeah.
necrophilia style.
And I would love if because that will probably be the climax of the campaign.
Yeah.
Their
And
final
you know
boss
how much I
battle.
love climaxing, so
Their final boss battle will be him. So if they, maybe I'll let you know whenever. I mean, that'll be years from now, but whenever that happens, and
you really think it's gonna take that long? Years?
to get to the very, very end, it's possible. Yeah, especially
Oh
because
god.
keep in mind we don't play this every week. We play this every
Yeah,
week
yeah.
for 6 months, and then they're gonna find this first armor piece, get back to the wizard. He's gonna give him some exposition, and then we're gonna cut. We're gonna take a 4 month break, and we're gonna play our buddy's campaign for 4 or 6 months, and then when we get to the end of his next chapter, we'll break and we'll come back here. So we don't, so in theory, it'll take twice as long as it should because we are
Yeah, well,
only going to
just
play half the time.
I'm in for the long game. Just know that I'm in for the long game.
Cool. Well,
All right.
I will talk to you next Tuesday. Thanks for being on. Thanks for joining. Thanks for talking. Thanks for your
Yeah, buddy.
perspective, your unique perspectives.
Thank you so much. Yeah, read what I sent you, and if you get 15 minutes tonight,
Yeah,
give it a quick read, and then
yeah.
just send me a text if you're interested. We can collaborate.
I just based on how much I love you as a person and love collaborating with you, I'm sure I will. But I'll let
See
you
what
know.
happens.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, everybody. Be well and live long and prosper.
All right. Bye. Okay. That is my buddy Matt. Was my buddy Matt. He still is my buddy. He's just not here anymore. He's a great guy. We love him to death, and yeah, he's been really good to me and my family. So it's been a short stream. It's only been an hour. I was kind of hoping that we'd have a little bit more time with Matt, but we don't. So I think we are going to cut it here. Have a quick, just 1 hour world building start. Obviously, very focused on Edgetown and like one NPC's background. But I feel like that in and of itself kind of speaks to how immersive this process can be when you have a single character who, in order to describe him well enough to have one of your good friends be able to play him, you need to spend an hour talking about who he is, where he comes from, what his backstory is, what his motivations are, why he cares about the party, why he exists in the specific town he exists in the world. And we didn't get into Edgetown at all. Like I talked a little bit about Karak, and I said that Edgetown is like a Wild West meets Edge of the World kind of frontier town type feel. But that's really it. Like we didn't talk about the Merchant Guild in Edgetown, which is prone to corruption because of its distance from Karak. We didn't talk about the Thieves Guild, which exists in Edgetown, which is closely affiliated, which is actually a rival guild of the not a rival guild. They are they do not condone the theft of the stealing of people. So be it for selling people back into slavery, returning them to their contract holders in Karak, or elves, and half elves, which are worried about being, disappeared from Edgetown, then like that's the bread and butter of the Thieves Guild. Um, I said earlier there are no elves in Edgetown. There probably are a few elves in Edgetown who are members of the Thieves Guild, who are experts at disguise or have magical abilities, or maybe the Thieves Guild one of the benefits of joining the Thieves Guild is that they can give you an amulet of disguised self, which will make you appear as, human or orc or, something that is not the elf that you're pretending not to be. Ooh, see, that's a great idea. So then that would give all of these kind of outcasts motivation. Plus, if you are a runaway contract holder, you would be able to wear this and physically change your appearance. I think that because the brand on the contract holders' foreheads are glowing and magical, that that would still shine through the disguise self. But they could at least, appear to not be the person who they're like. They could disguise themselves maybe as somebody else under contract legally, and somebody looking for them would walk right past them because they're looking for a orc with green skin and brown hair, and this contractee is human with blonde hair and is a foot shorter, and so that would be a really good motivator for them. And I like the idea that the Thieves Guild has morals and that they don't care about stuff. They'll steal stuff, but that the idea of selling and stealing people is abhorrent to them. And so they run counter to a lot of and they are, you know, it's kind of like a mafia style town where there's like, there's the area of town. Actually, I think I have a map of Edgetown. So give me a second. D&D maps and Edgetown. Okay, so Edgetown has this walled area, which is going to be the place where the guilds are. It's going to be where a lot of the high end shops are. It's going to be where all the noblemen's mansions are. And then there's this kind of like more of a squalor town type establishment, which is going to be where most of the population of Edgetown lives. There's obviously the farmers and things, a noble estate, a graveyard, but operating out of this old ship is going to be the Thieves Guild. They operate a bar out of the ship, which is not like that part isn't secret, but like the Thieves Guild part is obviously secret. So that's going to be kind of like a fun thing for them to discover at some point. Somebody will tell them to go to, the bar and ask about such and such, and I might even let the players just walk around town looking for the bar if they don't think to ask where it is, and ask when they finally do have somebody like point to the ship on the horizon. Um, so I like the idea that the Thieves Guild runs counter to both the Merchants Guild and the like sailors, pirates, ice rats is what I've been calling them. The kind of more unsavory element who are in league with the College of the Arcane Arts. I think that they will be like a good counterbalance to that, and it'll be a good kind of trio of a power struggle because nobody's motivations really overlap. Like, the sailors don't necessarily like the guild because they still have to pay for all their legitimate business they do. They have to pay a tithe to the guild, which like cuts into their bottom line. They're not that excited about it. The guild, knows that they smuggle some goods and they smuggle people out, which they're not crazy about either. But what are you going to do? It's all smuggling. And then there's the Thieves Guild, which is kind of like the man of the people, the real heart of the town. And even though the town is operated by the guilds, being you know, the Sailors Guild and the Merchants Guild, I guess, the Thieves Guild will be the kind of like quieter third leg, which, um, like maintains order. Uh, you know, especially when the guards on the Guild of Merchants payroll can be bribed pretty easily, and the Thieves Guild, can also be bribed. But if all of the town guard are bribed to look the other way and crime is rampant, then that's only good up to a point. People start getting hurt or killed, or property gets damaged, or you know, if it starts getting in the way of the Thieves Guild doing business. Not something to say about that. But my point is, we didn't get into any of that stuff. We were just talking about him, you know, and he's going to live outside town too. Wizards traditionally live in like towers, and I might put him in the nice part of town, and like make them walk into a guild controlled area every time they want to talk to him. But I feel like when I'll talk with Matt about that next week, and he will probably agree that Charas wouldn't have settled down in that kind of like highly controlled area. He probably would want a little bit more freedom and a little bit more privacy, as a lot of wizards do. Okay. All right. I think now I am going to end it. I have talked for another 15 minutes about Edgetown. Got a great idea for the Thieves Guild and kind of the trio of power which exists there, and I'll be able to build some like subplots for them within Edgetown to hopefully distract them before they leave, and then to hopefully for the next uh, dragon armor piece, but then also hopefully to be in the middle of something when they return. So this has been my world building stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you are watching this on YouTube and you enjoy this kind of thing, I'm expecting to do more of these. If you're just a general D&D nerd, me and my friends play in a couple of different campaigns on quite a few different nights. I stream on Twitch on soon to be Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and every other Friday. As of right now, it's just Wednesdays and every other Friday. And thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for hanging around. We play lots of D&D. I'm very passionate about D&D. I started playing like a year ago, and I've been DMing for almost all of that time, building this world. It's my baby. I love it. And I love you guys. Thank you so much. I will catch you next time.